Our next speaker is Mr. Mohamed Sherine Naggar, who is the chairman of AK Naggar Group, who will be talking about offshore developments in the Red Sea. Mr. Naggar graduated from the Faculty of Engineering, American University of Cairo in 1978. He started his career in shipping in 1973 as a trainee in the family company as a junior surveyor, and then moved to Ship Operations Agency and Tanker Operations. He later joined on the chartering team handling refrigerated vessels, bulk carriers, and tankers. In 1990, he established a new liner division within the company, which commenced operations in Damietta as a container transshipment hub for the first time in Egypt, thereby placing Damietta on the world shipping map. Today, he is heading a 10-company group offering all types of transport services to the trade, all under one roof, and he succeeded his late father as group chairman in 1991. Please welcome Mr. Naggar. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually here today to discuss not much about the technicalities of offshore drilling because our colleagues are more expert than I am in this. I'm more to highlight the importance of a certain area which seems to have been the spotlight of news in connection with political turmoil and so on. But the potential of my country in Egypt is, of course, unrivaled in many respects. Egypt is a major offshore hub in the center of the world. The potential is definitely there for Egypt to assume this position once the political unrest is behind us, which I expect would be within the next few weeks. Oops. If we go back a little bit in history, we will see that the Egyptians have, of course, everybody, I don't need to say that, we have created the world's first civilization on the banks of the river Nile, 5000 BC. But then, in 1299, the Ottomans came by and created their own strong and modern civilization by the name of the Ottoman Empire. Now, those two empires, being very distant from one another in years, close to 6,000 years difference, they have actually realized only this year that maybe after all, the interests of the two countries are more imminent, are more, they are more dependent on each other. And there's a lot of similarities in civilization, there's a lot of similarities in culture. They've inherited a lot of habits from one another. So the descendants of those civilizations have decided to join forces and create a new transport bridge as a nucleus of their unity of the cooperation between the two countries. Of course, I'm not here to discuss history, but just to give you a background, this is the realization of Egypt and Turkey being so similar and so focal within the center of the world, really, since Turkey connects Europe with Asia, and Egypt is the junction between Africa and the Middle East and Europe. So the unity between them, well, commercial unity, I mean, will make a lot of sense insofar as creating a good, solid service provider to the industry of all kinds, not just the Red Sea, not just the offshore operation. Now, the nucleus of this cooperation has been in a maritime bridge. Unfortunately, the situation in Syria has made life extremely difficult for trucking and for truck routes moving all the way from Northern Europe down to the Arabian Gulf. And this actually trade, although it's not very much heard of, yet it's quite a big trade. And a lot of people are dependent on their just-in-time products all the way from Europe, passing through Turkey over the Bosphorus and going into Arabian Gulf over Syrian and Jordanian territory, which goes all the way from up Turkey, down Syria, Jordan, and then through Saudi Arabia, Upper Gulf and Lower Gulf. That's mainly a trade which unfortunately has not been big as it may be, and we are talking here a daily volume of 600 trailers and trucks in every direction. So it's, well, what you can call it, they say, a 1,200 TEU ship on a daily basis, which is quite substantial. This, unfortunately, has the problem with the civil war in Egypt, in Syria, has prompted the Egyptians and the Turks to find an alternative route, and this is what prompted this bridge to be established in April. The bridge starts mainly in Mersin, goes over to Portside. Oops. Yeah, the bridge starts in Mersin, going over to Portside, and from Portside, it goes over land down to Suez, and then another ferry will ferry the trucks down to the port of Dibba in Saudi Arabia, and then the distribution, the trailers will drive to their various destinations. Now, why is this bridge of any significance to the offshore market? If we look at the amount of drilling fields in Egypt, we will see that offshore, primarily all the spots that you can see here, these are onshore, the land-based fields. Over on the Mediterranean, you can see there's quite a few fields there. Also on the Red Sea, there's quite a few fields there. And if we go back, if we look at the path of the bridge, you'll notice that it is actually coming all the way, going bang through the main fields in Egypt, both in the Red Sea and in the Mediterranean, which means that a creation, or actually there's an existing point here in Port Said. This point is the main service station for the offshore industry here in Egypt. There's another one in Edco, and of course there's a couple here on the Red Sea. Now, the idea for this creation is not just to serve these parts here, which I'm referring to, but of course there's substantial offshore services, offshore business over in the Arabian Gulf, and the production, the transport of equipment can be quite fast, especially when we are talking, as our colleagues here have mentioned, figures of $150,000, $400,000 in some cases of drilling rigs. And if you need certain equipment or spare parts on very short notice, I think this will be the fastest way of providing such equipment, because it will take about 72 hours from places like Aberdeen or Glasgow or Rotterdam or Antwerp, which are really the main origins of equipment, to come down to Mersin, and then in a matter of 24 hours, it will be here to save the day, or be here to save the day, or another 2 days, it will be in the Arabian Gulf. So we're talking here about 4 or 5 days downtime on a rig which has a crisis, and that, of course, is very important. Thank you very much, gentlemen.